I'm thrilled to join this panel today. We have folks from Emory Healthcare, Epic, Novo Nordisk, and Stryker, and they're going to talk about what their organizations are doing in innovation. Hope to have a lot of fun today. Start out, we're going to send it down the line to introduce themselves and introduce their organization. So, Greg, I'll turn it over to you.
You guys didn't see it, but when he took that photo, it all lined up really nice.
Good.
And so that's what we're going to give you today. My name is Greg Esper. I'm a neurologist at Emory Healthcare. I serve our organization as the Associate Chief Medical Officer for the health system. Emory, as you may know, is an academic medical center with the tripartite mission for clinical care, teaching, and research.
Great. My name is Ann Fisher. I'm with Novo Nordisk. Novo Nordisk is a pharmaceutical manufacturer. We actually produce half of the world's insulin. So we're a diabetes company, an obesity company, and a rare disease company. And my team is market access commercial innovation. And so our key stakeholders are payers. So that's your PBMs, your health systems, and in the obesity space, employers. And my team is looking to develop value-based, mutually beneficial partnerships with those stakeholders.
Good morning, folks. Seth Hain. I work at Epic. I'm in our research and development group working across the teams. We're a medical software company with our software running from clinics to hospitals, and I'm guessing some of you might have it in your pocket with my chart.
And I'm David Steele. I work for Stryker. I lead the digital health strategy for a new group formed at Stryker, Digital, Robotics, and Enabling Technologies. And Stryker is one of the world's leading medical technology companies with innovative products across medical, surgical, neurotechnology, orthopedics, and spine.
Excellent. And you know, they told me that good leadership is surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you, and now I'm the dumbest one on stage, so I've officially made it. So we're going to start the panel to say, you know, innovation can mean a lot of different things. It's a buzzword that's tossed around, and nobody probably uses that buzzword more than me, but it does mean things inside of these organizations. So to start off, we want to hear how these organizations are defining innovation and some of the things that they're working on. So David, I'm going to send it down to you at the end. I know Stryker has been very focused on emerging technologies and connected care and innovation. Can you talk about how you guys define innovation and some of the things you all are working on?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, innovation is one of our 4 strategic pillars for the company. And it is and has always been the growth engine for our success over the years through disciplined investment in R&D as well as through acquisitions. So, for example, we spend about $1.2 billion annually in R&D. We have almost 12,000 patents issued, and in the last 2 years alone, we've made 4 strategic acquisitions of very innovative companies. But I want to also mention, as this is kind of a philosophy, the founder of Stryker is Dr. Homer Stryker, and he was an orthopedic surgeon in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And he kind of summarized the Stryker philosophy around innovation in his own way. He said, if your tools don't work, make them work. If you can't make them work, make some that do. And I'll add to that, as we're in the 4th revolution of the 4th industrial revolution that we're all experiencing in healthcare, as well as in all parts of the economy, that I would add these words and we must be open to collaboration and partnerships with like-minded, innovative companies who can help us achieve our mission for making healthcare better. One other thing I'll mention as an example around, and I mentioned I'm in the new Digital Robotics Enabling Technology group, is that we recognized from an innovation perspective that these complex and very innovative technologies are also very expensive, especially in a decentralized R&D approach. And so we have centralized these activities so that we can build and enhance them through common technology blocks that can be leveraged across the business to accelerate innovation. And a couple of good examples. So in the robotics side, you've heard of Mako, not the Mako shark that's out there. I saw one of those swimming around in the aquarium, but the Mako robotics system, which is a very innovative technology for precise execution of surgery using 3D imaging and haptic tactile feedback. And the innovation here We've been utilizing this technology for performing hip and knee arthroplasties, but now we're utilizing the common technology blocks to then extend this to spine and shoulder procedures. Same thing for like navigation equipment, where we have the most advanced cameras with active optical technology and smart instrumentation and navigation software with high-def monitors for visualizing the patient anatomy intraoperatively while planning and executing a surgery. And the concept of utilizing this same technology across multiple clinical indications is how we are innovating to help accelerate getting products like that out to the market. There's a number of different other examples, but I think I just wanted to give you a flavor for how we're thinking about innovation. Is common technology blocks that we can utilize. We do not have to reinvent the wheel across our business. We're in essence collaborating internally to bring innovation to the marketplace.
That's excellent. And David, I bet we can talk to someone about getting a Stryker logo on that Mako shark if we wanted to make that happen. I don't
Okay,
know.
let's make that happen.
Talk to the compliance people. I don't know about that. Another thing I'll call out about Stryker, which is great, is, like everybody else on this panel, it's not just about innovating and doing good for their organizations. It's about doing good for healthcare in general. And an example of that with Stryker is our group was at the tour at the Emory Nursing Learning Center, which we've all heard about from the CEOs in the room and the healthcare leaders in the room about the nursing shortage. And what Emory's done is set up a simulation environment for training the next generation of nurses, and Stryker partnered with them to bring that environment to life and offer real-world settings where they can train. And if you haven't seen that facility, it's a state-of-the-art facility, and it's excellent what they're doing over there, including all the way down to the high school level. So great work by Stryker and Emory on that. Greg, before we move on to this question, I want to pass it to you because as a clinician and as a healthcare leader and an administrator, you're tasked with doing so many different things, and so the way you view innovation may be different. I'd love to hear your view and Emory's view on that.
Yeah, I think that when we talk about innovation at Emory, it's about what problem are you trying to solve? And for us in healthcare, it's what problem are you trying to solve for your patients and their families? What problems are you trying to solve for your people? And then can you create solutions, which may be technological, they may be not technological, that actually create better outcomes for the stakeholders? And I think the true value of innovation comes when that innovation can be spread to other parts of the organization or to other organizations. Often that requires collaboration, and I think the holy grail is that not only that does it improve the lives of patients and their families and the people that are delivering the care to the patients and families, but can you monetize it so you can keep investing? And if you can keep investing in innovation, always asking the question, what problem am I trying to solve? What's my current state? What's my target state? What are my gaps? How do I get there? That to me is what we think about when we talk about innovation in healthcare.
Yeah. And what we have done as an ecosystem is we've really worked with those end users to define those problems, to not only surface the problems, but also work with industry to figure out how to commercialize those technologies, which is a key point to making them sustainable. And there's no doubt everybody in this room probably knows just as well as everybody on this panel does that disruptive innovation is going to be critical to the future of healthcare. And we truly believe that cross-industry collaborations are what's going to drive that. I want to flip it over to Ann from Novo Nordisk. Ann, you have absolutely been a force for innovation inside of Novo Nordisk and across the industry. It has been awesome to work with Ann, so if you get a chance to catch up with her, please do that. But you've been very successful at forming partnerships and getting things off the ground. Can you talk a little bit about your role and those sorts of things that you've been doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that my organization enables me to do this, right? So we have a focused team. We have dedicated resources, and I'd also say the spirit of innovation is active at Novo Nordisk. We, at our core, are a drug development company, and a lot of innovation is similar in terms of you've got to put a lot in the funnel, you've got to test, learn, and iterate to actually get to something that's scalable. So yes, to your point about some of the collaborations that we've done, again, my stakeholder is very clear, it's that payer. So two great examples, I think, of collaborating with our pay our customers. One would be a Safeguard RX patient support program. So we, through conversations with this partner, realized that they had patient support programs in diabetes, in oncology, but none for weight management or obesity. And that's really our company's, we're experts in the obesity space. So working with them to develop a weight management care value program. Or another one of our partners has a very differentiated presence, and that's CVS. They have a number of retail clinics and health hubs. And so one of the health hubs programs is a nutrition program. But it wasn't a nutrition with AOMs. And so working with them, again, educating and helping them develop a program to now support not only nutrition plain, but also nutrition for those patients that are on anti-obesity medications. So again, with time, with focus, with tolerance, with patience, and with good collaborators, you find those mutually beneficial opportunities, and I think they're better for everyone.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it, and we've loved being a part of that. Before I move on to the next question, is there anybody else that wants to talk about cross-industry collaborations that they've done at their organization?
We're about to do a big cross-industry collaboration with Epic.
Tomorrow, right?
No, it's actually on 10/1. So, and I think Seth has a brilliant mind for talking about how, how we can collaborate to make the patient experience better, the family experience better, the provider experience better. I would, throw it to Seth and say, how does Epic do that with organizations? We're on the cusp of learning that.
But I do think, to David's definition of innovation earlier, the possibility of collaboration, be it the technologies that folks have created or the ones many of you might be imagining in the future, there's a real opportunity to reduce friction in the system where collaboration can take place around a shared genomically enabled medical record, regardless of kind of how that care is being provided. And so one of the opportunities, Greg, I think, is what started with health systems and patients through things like MyChart or other patient portals collaborating together, and now is extended to home-based care, retail sites, and a variety of other opportunities. There's the chance to bring many more folks into that collaborative environment. And that's something we're working on up in Madison. One example of it is something we call the Orders and Results Anywhere Network. This is where specialty diagnostic groups, an example being Exact Sciences, who many of you might have seen the ads for Cologuard as an example on television, or Tempus, who does genomic testing. Physicians are able to order those studies, those tests, directly alongside their CBCs, get that sent to the specialty diagnostic organization across the network, and then the results flow directly back into that shared medical record that the organization has, enabling new organizations to participate. Another example of collaboration in that space is around life sciences, where a study sponsor, pharmaceutical company, health system, et cetera, can define a study on the network. And then each health system can identify whether or not they've got a set of patients that makes sense to participate. It used to be you had to translate that PDF at every single individual health site. Now you can quickly download it, download whether or not you have patients from that study sponsor, figure it out, do the outreach through phones, through the clinics, and then through electronic data capture, be able to aggregate those results and bring it back, advancing the speed with which collaboratively we can all create that next set of cures and results. So excited to see all the folks in the room coming together on these types of opportunities.
And that's how you know. And you know your innovation works when people are coming to you, when people keep asking you, and people know that you're breaking down the friction. That's how you know that you're being successful in innovation. And I think that's a critical element. That's, one of the reasons we're going to Epic is because they have created a friction, I wouldn't say frictionless, but
that's impossible.
A system with less friction.
I think my Whoop just pinged my MyChart, and my Apple Watch said my blood pressure was high, but I think I'll be okay. I'm not sure. Greg, I'm going to bounce it back to you and stay on that topic of academic medical centers. obviously it's about keeping the lights on. Sometimes y'all are in this big transition and there's a bunch of challenges with that. And if you're in the audience and you have an appointment on the patient side on October 1st, please be patient. I'll give that plug. But could you talk a little bit about specifically some of the partnerships you've done outside of the organization? I know we talked about some that have been successful, and then some of the challenges that happen with innovating inside an academic medical center, because I think a lot of folks in the audience want to partner with academic medicine to test and validate their technologies, and I know they value that perspective.
Well, I mean, everyone on the stage we partnered with, whether it's Stryker from the robotics perspective, you already heard about Epic, and Novo Nordisk with work that Chris Massey and Fred Turton did to develop an app-based way to identify obesity, and not only identify obesity, but begin to treat it in a population management fashion. So we've had success with all the partners on the stage. I think that there have been other successes external to that. Those successes have been with Philips, where Dr. Tim Buckman and Cheryl Hiddleston have developed an EICU platform that is now in not only throughout Emory Healthcare, but a number of hospitals in Georgia. We're partnering with Amwell and their new Converge platform to deliver telemedicine through the Epic system in that regard. So again, what problem are we trying to solve? Who's bringing the solution? How much friction is there? But the key is to be able to iterate with your partners, learn, fail fast. And if you're not in the mindset that you're going to fail and you're going to have to keep improving, then you're not going to be able to innovate. And you're not going to be able to develop better applications for your patients and your people.
Yeah,
Can I just add a comment on that? Because I think that iteration that Greg is describing is key to the success of those type of collaborations. And having a common set of goals and outcomes that that there's an understanding between your organization and the health system you're working with that you can monitor to as you're going through that iterative process to understand the failure points in the workflows is a key opportunity for continuing to succeed together.
Yeah.
I also want to add, if you don't mind, so just compliments to both the health system and 1110 for, taking those best practices, having learned, making it, nothing's going to be frictionless, but a really easy experience for those organizations that want to partner with you. Emory wants to be an innovator. 1110, you've helped us from, contracts, they take a long time. And just the patience and the best practices that we can use to make that more efficient has really made us want to partner with you over and over again. So,
yeah, I appreciate all those perspectives. David, did you have something?
Yeah, just loving this conversation too, because I've been thinking about this. Partnerships have been tougher in the past, and when I mentioned Stryker, for example, it was either build it or you buy it. That is changing, and organizations like Emory that are making it easier to partner are part of leading that charge. We're seeing this now as much more part of our offense because of the changing environment. Digital technologies, for instance, is also an area where it's so hard to keep up with the advances in technology. You have to partner. And then the health systems and being, in alignment with the goals, the overall mission we're trying to accomplish together, to Seth's point, is opening up doors. Common vision, common mission, right, creates a great opportunity for partnerships. And so we're really excited about the fact that this is now, the environment is ripe for these types of relationships.
And I just want to say, I love the evolution over the past decade or so in innovation and not wanting to own all of it and being like, we're differentiated and we're the best here. And so let's let all the best people get together and create a better solution than any of us could on our own. So.
A big thing we talk about at 1110 is called demand-driven innovation. And what that is, it means innovating with the end user, not for the end user. So a big part of the process that this group is talking about is going into the healthcare system, interviewing the administrators and the clinicians and even the patients to empathetically understand their problems, and then working with industry and startups and whoever else can help solve that problem. And there's sometimes those are incremental changes, and sometimes those are transformative changes. So I think that's a excellent perspective. I will real quickly highlight, I know you called out some of the work Philips did with the ICU. Philips is also a partner of the 1110 and Emory Healthcare Innovation Program, and they have a very pragmatic and high-tech approach to command centers and operational efficiency. And I know they're here today and will be hanging around the 1110 booth, so please stop by and learn more about us and learn more about them. I'm gonna shift a bit. I know we've talked about several wins, but I want to kind of open it up to the panel around success stories and examples of some of the things you all are working on, and kind of open the topic up. So David, I'll send it back down there, and I know you highlighted some, but if we could go a little bit deeper on some of the technologies you're working on.
Yeah, I'm going to take I have an interesting success story I was thinking about when we were huddling up before this meeting. So together with our customers, we've impacted over 100 million lives annually. But during the pandemic, I saw our mission-driven culture come to life in an unprecedented way. And I see this as a really interesting success story. So back in March of 2020, as you might all recall, there was a severe shortage of beds needed for COVID patients. And so our medical team in Michigan rallied to build a prototype new bed that could be assembled and shipped very quickly to get it to where it was needed. The problem was that Michigan is a lot farther away from where the beds were needed. And if you all remember, like New York in that time was in a dire strait. And so we decided to assemble the beds in a facility in New Jersey. And Stryker employees volunteered and sacrificed to make that happen. While some plants were shutting down, we were opening up. And within 2 weeks, we were able to assemble and ship over 10,000 beds to those areas that needed them very quickly. And that's an interesting story as well, because this is a facility that has no familiarity with beds. They manufacture implants for orthopedic hip and knee. And so it's really an example of innovation, not only in what you make, but how and where you make it. And so that was really emblematic of the Stryker spirit.
Just a quick build off of that, because the degree to which, as a community of technologists, healthcare providers, and others came together to solve these challenges, the bed story really struck me, because as James asked the question, I was thinking about some collaboration that took place between health systems. So NYU developed a machine learning algorithm, same bed challenge, to predict individuals that were likely to have favorable outcomes from COVID. So these are individuals they don't want to have in a bed, right? And they put that into practice in their workflow. There's a capability for putting machine learning algorithms that they've developed directly into the workflow using the latest information in that genomically enabled medical record. And they started using it as assigned to docs. They then decided to share it across the community. So they put that algorithm up on the marketplace at no charge, and auctioneer down in New Orleans downloaded it and put it into practice in their system as well. So there's an opportunity here for collaboration both around technology, but also around medical practice. And I think the combination of the two is really powerful.
And also around such a beautiful story, and nobody wants another pandemic, but what happened in the pandemic is that we began to work for one another. We began to work with one another in ways we hadn't done before. And that environment where we were all, focused on trying to keep people out of the hospital, to save lives, I mean, we have to capture that spirit as we innovate, as we work together. And we heard a beautiful talk yesterday at the 1110 seminar about celebrating the different perspectives, celebrating the different goals of each stakeholder, and not shying away from them, because that's how you actually get to the point where you can have frank discussions and how you can actually move stuff forward. Because if you don't know, what the incentives are for various groups that you're collaborating with, you're not going to be there. You're not going to get to where you would need to be. But we were all singularly focused during that time, and I think that it's just inspiring to hear that kind of stuff.
Excellent. Anyone else? Awesome. You good? Okay. The next question is more, it's less about innovation, although it factors into it, and it's about the future of healthcare. That's what this is about. I want to ask the panel, great thought leaders, looking ahead in the next 3 to 5 years, what do you hope our U.S. healthcare system looks like? And what are some of the technologies, innovations to get us there? And as a plug, all of you are members of the 1110 and Emory Healthcare Innovation Ecosystem. So if there are things we are working on or collaborations that we can highlight, please do. I'll take that to David first.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, we'll just go down the line. That's
sorry.
fine.
Forgot that was
So 2 things that I'm really excited about in the next 3 to 5 years. One is realizing the vision of the connected ecosystem. The building blocks we need to enable to access and share data, and really to realize the vast potential of AI and machine learning in advancing clinical decision-making and patient-specific solutions, and really overall the opportunity to improve healthcare. And the other one for me stands out is the opportunities around, lack of a better term, like automation of all the manual processes that our clinicians and caregivers, both from reducing that workload, both physical as well as cognitive. And this is an acknowledgement of the workforce shortages and burnout. And in my opinion, solutions that are addressing some of these major issues are going to see, out of necessity, a much more rapid adoption in the next 3 to 5 years. And then in terms of 1110, I just want to say we are working on roadmaps for our future innovations around things like 5G connectivity, mobile edge compute, connected ORs, and health system partnerships, but also the opportunity within this consortium to really learn from each other, to learn about what their strategic initiatives are, the challenges they're facing, some of the novel solutions that they are putting in place to overcome those challenges. And my plug on 1110 is really that they are inspiring us to think and act differently and to collaborate together to bring solutions that are going to improve care for our caregivers and their patients.
Yesterday afternoon, a group of us were sitting around the table, thanks for organizing it, James, discussing some of these challenges coming up the next 3 to 5 years. And I do think one of the key ones is going to be around continuing to identify and improve operational efficiencies. Health systems are going through challenging times from both the workforce perspective and from a number of other fronts, and working together to figure out how technology can help enable new methods to build up those efficiencies across the organization is important. On a more hopeful note, I am hopeful that there's a lot of opportunity there, just to be clear. I do think that's true. I think there's a lot of doors that are going to be open over the next 5 years around discovering new treatments, digital therapeutics, biologics, et cetera, using the data that so many folks have been working hard to capture and put in place, but then distributing those. And I think that's the key, is how, once they're discovered, do you put them into practice widely and for everyone across the community? So hopeful about that.
Okay, so in the next 5 years, I'm definitely seeing wearables playing a big role in patient identification, patient activation, patient adherence. I am currently wearing 2 wearables. There's 2 other on my wish list. So I think it dovetails back into how do we use that data once we have it. So similar theme. But what I'm really excited about in terms of partnerships with 1110 is a little bit of a different angle. So my team's thinking a lot about equity and benefits and equity in healthcare coverage, especially for obesity, because obesity is over-indexed in underserved communities. And so this is a common conversation that we've been having with a lot of partners through 1110. And I think if there's one thing I would leave you with all of the positive that we've said about this whole test, learn, and iterate model, it's also to have tenacity, because the whole point is that when it's failed, you pivot, but underlying that is failure. And failure isn't a bad word, it's just going to get you to the ultimate solution. And so definitely thankful to 1110 for putting the right tone in place for us to work with various partners, on this issue of SCOH. So whether or not we're looking at new and novel data sets, or whether or not we're engaging, partners in the Atlanta ecosystem, we're all trying to solve this better patient outcomes problem. And so super appreciate your partnership on that.
Well, I think that, and I don't know that it's going to happen in the next 5 years, but I can tell you it's where we need to go. We have to get to more value-based care. We have to create incentives that align everything around the patient and the family, and make it easier for those who are delivering care to bring it to those folks. Whether you're looking at giving the Moderna vaccine, which was developed at Emory, or you're looking at delivering a new technology or a wearable that's going to reduce obesity through patient engagement. We have to align with payers. We have to become operationally efficient in a way that healthcare has not in the past, in order to be able to deliver value that's actually going to save our health system. That costs are exorbitant. We cannot continue, with the rising costs, and that means that we're going to have to take on some sacred cows, and taking on sacred cows is difficult. And so, we can't be fearful. We need to be bold. And we need to empower our organizations and our people and break down silos to create solutions around that front, so we can move forward, reduce the cost of healthcare, improve the quality and safety of healthcare, improve care delivery for our patients and our families.
Wow, some big perspectives, and I will just say I think that aligns with a lot of the way folks think in this room. And from an 1110's perspective, we're grateful for y'all's partnership, and you all bring the inspiration for innovation. So thank you for that. And I'll close out with a few things. First off, we are out in our booth. We have most of our team here. We have a lot of our technologies here. So please stop by. If you would like to see that selfie, please follow us on LinkedIn, and you can see that first and foremost. And then one other thing, which we talked about as a panel that I want to call out, is we are so grateful for Health Connect South, and we're so grateful for the Atlanta healthcare community and the healthcare community across the nation. And we do know that a big portion of the folks here are students or future leaders. And that is where the future of innovation is going to come from. So if you're in this room and you're thinking about going in this field, and you've seen the challenges that have happened over the past few years with COVID and the strain on resources and the burnout, I would just say, please stay on this path, because innovation is going to happen. You all are going to make it happen, and there's nothing more rewarding than making that impact. So we want to talk to you. Come by. We want to meet you, and we want to help you carve that path. So let's give this panel a hand, and thank you all for listening. Appreciate it.